This is the Inquisitive Minds Podcast.
Hey, thank you for tuning in the Inquisitive Minds Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Johnny Smith. With me today, we have a returning guest, a hell of a guy, Jake Aretz. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, brother. Third time, happy to be here.
Third time's the charm. I think Dan might have been on. No, Dan only got twice. I think Tripp has been on 3 times. So you're up there with the counter. No, welcome back. It's an honor to have you again, man. Always appreciate you stopping by the office. Today, obviously this is recorded previously, but today's a big day for you.
It is.
1 year sobriety.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you're going to tell us a little bit more about how you did that today?
I am. So to break down the whole journey of sobriety, I think I'll start at the beginning, the best I can from drink one. And just and paint the whole picture for everyone from there. And I know that this is a little bit maybe odd, to bring up on a podcast, talk about, but I think a lot of people are probably interested to hear, a story like this, and more people are struggling.
Jake, you just broke my heart because you told me, without telling me, you don't listen to the podcast because you said this may be a little odd. The episode that drops tonight, I have a 10-minute conversation with a lawyer about Lyndon B. Johnson's penis.
Okay.
So Odd lives here.
Odd lives here. I know that. That's the whole show.
Yeah.
That's the whole show. I know that. I just mean it's a dark topic is what
Absolutely.
I really mean.
Absolutely. But it's real.
It's very real, and I think more people struggle with these things than is expected, much like the depression episode we did. And, if anyone hears this, one damn person, fabulous, and they got something from it. That's my only goal here. So I just wanted to share my whole story, outside of friends and family, on a platform like this with you.
Well, thank you. That's beautiful. And like I said, I'm honored that you would come on and share your story. But don't let me interrupt you anymore.
So drink one. If I recall correctly, the first time I really had a drink, me and my friend Steve were, I think, like 13 years old at the time. At a high school basketball game, would go there. My dad always encourages it. Go watch the varsity team. You guys will be up there one day, all that. And I forget if we left early or just left after the game, but I think we snuck out early. And it was like a goal. It was a pure intention. Hey, we're going back to Jake's house. We're going to go in the liquor cabinet. We're going to take a shot of Crown Royal. This is the day. And we did that. So went to the house, made a big fuss of it, and I don't remember how it went. I remember it being a big deal, and that was that, and I don't think it ever went beyond that night.
You said the first drink was what, Crown Royal?
It was Crown Royal, one pure shot, because we all had the sip beer from Dad when we were 8 years old or something. Oh, my dad's nasty, but I mean a real
Now, you said
drink.
You don't remember the aftermath, but do you remember the actual drink? Because as a 13-year-old, that's not a good taste.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And I remember being probably 15, stealing a bunch of beer from parents' Christmas party, Budweiser and stuff, and sneaking one of those with my friend. We're playing pool up in the garage, and I'm just like, God, this is terrible. Versus 10 years later, I'm like, this is great. I don't care if it's warm.
That's very true.
So after the shot of Crown, I remember it developing with the same guy. Maybe a year, 2 years later, we're getting older, and it was like, all right, we're going to drink more of that alcohol stuff. We're growing up. We're 14 now, so it's time to get heavy. And I remember with him, a sleepover in my bedroom. We're watching, this is getting weird, American Pie, sitting on this big soft couch, and we're taking shots of Blue Wave vodka, chasing it with Blue Huggies. And we got 4 shots each, and we're like, dude, we're fucked up, dude. Yeah, I'm just 70 pounds thrown up there, having a great time. So that was my first, either with him, I think it was that time, hungover, the day after. I remember throwing up and just feeling like hell. And I'm like, wow, that's alcohol. And honestly,
it's amazing that people continue to pursue
to do that. Yeah, believe me, and we'll get to some of those darker hangover days and the one that brought me to this point. But with that, I stayed away from alcohol, like where everybody went out in high school and partied and all that. I really didn't. From like 14, 15, 16, maybe 17 even. Girlfriend was like straight edge. And I'm like, no problem, me too. Like I dabbled with cigarettes and everything. I was just pack-a-day guy from 15 to 19. But like booze, I didn't even really have interest. Or like if I did, it was at the family party and that was it. It really didn't matter until in my later teens, maybe like 18, 19, started drinking a little more, not a problem. Started getting into it good maybe at 19.
Now, was there a reason you started drinking more? Was it to have a good time, or was it to cover something?
The company you keep, have some of this, okay.
So it wasn't like you were going through something.
I wasn't. And where it started developing habitually was when I got out of high school. I was like, look, college job, I don't know. And, I'm smoking every day, and I'm like, I'm going to start cracking a beer on the porch. I'm going to have one rolling rock.
I thought you were getting ready to tell me you started smoking crack.
Nope, didn't go there. But
how low have you gone?
Some Marlboro Lights, that was all I needed at the time.
And, it was a good time after high school. We started smoking crack. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college or smoke crack. It was all right.
Had things to debate.
Yeah, no, okay. So some beers and some cigarettes.
Some beers and cigarettes, and that's where the beers became a habit. Where it started becoming a problem was soon after that when I got into the beer business, right? So,
well, you're surrounded by it.
I'm surrounded by it, and I remember starting in the business, and first day, guy walks in, I need an MGD 30-pack, and I'm like, you need what? I don't know what the fuck. I have no idea anything in the beer market except like what my dad had or what I ever saw on TV.
Yeah, like Budweiser.
Yeah,
Miller.
Budweiser. Yeah. Absolutely. He said MGD, and I'm like, it's Miller Genuine Draft. Uncommon. If you drink it, you probably buy cases somewhere.
I want to just say how much I relate to this so far because like growing up, alcohol wasn't a factor in my house. I think I've seen my mom drunk maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
So like, when you get older, you want to go to the beer distributor, but you don't want to feel like a jackass. So you end up grabbing shitty drinks, or even the liquor store.
Sure.
I would go in, and I didn't even know what the difference between one and the other was. Or you leave with something that looks good, like blue vodka or some shit. And,
turns out terrible.
yeah. This is miserable. Well, here's the better stuff. Oh, this is still miserable.
Exactly, and I wanted to know, especially for the clients, and this is like where I started getting into like more of a sales mind of what do we have, what do they need, what can I offer them, and I slowly started getting into those cases of beer. I'm like, I'm locked in this fucking place like 60 hours. Let me try one of these.
Yeah.
And let me try one of these. And I ended up going through the whole store, and I tried everything so people could come in, I could educate them what's good, what's bad.
Now, I spent some time with you, and I think you were doing the things where you were trying like the different craft beers or IPAs. Excuse me if my wording's wrong. Now, back then, was it just like regular beer, or when did you venture out?
It was a mix, because the way the store was set up, it was probably 70% your regular Miller, Bud, and all that, and then there was special shelves for the fancy stuff. And, when I started drinking, I was a regular beer guy, and I really liked like Moosehead, Heineken, your full lagers, German lagers.
You liked Heineken. Okay, I'm not a big fan of beer in general.
I know.
But if I have to drink one, Heineken is one of the worst tasting drinks I've ever had. Oh, my God, everything is.
Yeah. It's not for everyone, and I'm glad I swayed away from that and
this
found
just
IPAs.
in. I'm sorry. Heineken is sponsoring this podcast. It's the best refresher. No.
No, it's skunk beer most of the time, and there's some science to that with the green bottles. The light comes through and skunks it out, so better to have like.
And that's done purposely, though, right?
It can be. I mean, it adds like like we're talking about people. It gets people talking about it right there. So,
yeah.
It's
provocative.
It's provocative. It's sexy. It's Heineken. It's James Bond's beer. So.
Is it?
It is. Yeah.
That's how little I know about alcohols.
But that's what I started with, the lagers, and then I got into the weird stuff. Thank my brother-in-law for getting me into the weird stuff, and that's where the obsession began. That's where the alcoholism came from. And when I got out of the retail stores and into the wholesale market, and I was around more crafts, and we could buy beer there ridiculously cheap, borderline free. Maybe like a year through my time there, I got an app on my phone. It's called Untapped, and it was
I remember that.
a social media basically for beer drinkers. You could see what people were drinking, where they were drinking. You could track it. And when I entered all the beers when I got the app, I'm like, holy! I had 325 different beers. And
Yeah, that's the one that keeps the track, so you can try. Okay,
Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
And when I did that, I'm like, dude, this is so cool. Like 325. And it became a game for me because I said, dude, what if I was the guy that tried 500 different beers? So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And when I saw me approaching that goal steadily, I started drinking more and more because it became like a winnable game, to the point, honestly, like I was almost vomiting nightly, just sleeping on the bathroom floor because I wanted to get to 500 so bad.
Do you think it would have been different if you were just purely for like the connoisseurship? Like you would get one beer,
because that
drink
wasn't
that
really
one beer.
It
sounds like you would get that beer.
It was just
and
for
then keep
just
going.
For the stroke. It was just to get that number. It wasn't about the beer. I enjoyed chasing the beers. I enjoyed trying different ones and unique stuff. And that was a big part of it, but I wasn't the guy who was like the essence of the hops from the farm. No.
Let me stop you real quick. Because you said about a lot of beers there. And go, like doing through comedy, go to a lot of hipster bars, weird bars, and I see all these names of beer or whatever they're called. So when you said, thank my brother, I didn't know legitimately if that was going to be like an IPA. Or not, like, oh, thank my brother.
No,
because I've seen some wild names.
Absolutely. There's
that
some
being
freaky
said,
stuff out there.
Because this is a very serious podcast, so I'm trying to bring some brevity to it. I want to ask you a couple sidebar questions. Okay. Did you travel for different beers?
Absolutely.
And if so, like, where is the furthest you've gone?
Well, the thing is, this was kind of connected sometimes to the foodie stuff, and everywhere I went, alcohol is available almost everywhere, but everybody has Miller, Yingling, Bud, all that stuff. It's harder to find stuff, the crafts. So when I'd go to these places, I'm like literally digging through the coolers. What do you got? Like, find me something in the back. It had to be something new because I'm like, I'm not drinking the same thing twice.
Okay.
I almost never drank the same thing twice because I wanted a new number on the board. And it was like, I mean, I've been out in New York City, Cleveland, Buffalo. I've been all over the place for the food, and the alcohol was connected to it. So I never went like out of my way. Like I'm driving to Johnstown to buy this one can of beer.
Yeah.
But I made it, especially when I got into social media, I didn't have one thing, but I was like reviewing, like with Google and everything, the cigar bars, breweries, and then the food kind of came after that. It was really the beer that I was passionate about first because that was the industry I was from.
And
the food definitely came later.
Okay. Is there a name of a beer that sticks out to you as one of the wackier ones you've seen? Because I'm sure you've come across a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd have to go through my phone a little bit. I mean, you could think of the wildest shit, you know.
Okay.
Tony took a dump in the woodshed, and that's a great IPA.
That's the soundbite I wanted. That's all.
I could scroll through my phone and find some humdingers, but yeah, I couldn't name one off the top of my head. But it's always those small craft breweries. Like I drove past one on the way down here.
Yeah.
Like Beaver Falls Brewery or whatever. I guarantee they have some zany stuff in there.
Oh yeah, there's what is it? Petrucci Brothers Brewery down the road here in New Brighton. There's those little breweries are everywhere, and they're fascinating. I'm not shitting on them. Just alcohol's not for me. One last question. Since you've tried so many beers, and I'm sure we'll find out what your final number ended up being, was there a favorite? Or a top 2, 3?
You know, I'm going to say yeah, because I hate to even say because it's like a cliche beer almost, but Pumpkin, honestly, out of all the beers I had, I always did like the seasonal beers, like Sam Adams.
Sam Adams has a shit ton of beers.
Winter Lager is a beautiful beer. Great Lakes Christmas Ale is a beautiful beer.
Now, are these like a lighter?
Crisper? All three of those are heavy beers.
Okay.
Like with alcohol and with flavor. And that's what I love. Like when something's really bold in flavor, like I can't just drink a Corona Light and say that's phenomenal.
You know what I have found that I enjoyed on the rare occasions I'll buy something at a brewery is like those coffee flavored alcohols.
Yeah, the stouts.
Yes.
The coffee, the booze. And
those
everything.
I think because the booze is too rough for me, like tasting. So the coffee takes the edge off.
Yeah, like the black beers, they almost look like sometimes the porters.
Oh man,
and
I had this one time these two big black stout coffee flavored beers, but I only had two of them, and I was lit up.
Yeah.
They were like 12-13%.
Exactly. Yeah. and that's the dark side of the craft beer, because like it's one thing to drink the normal beers, but like when you start really getting heavy into the heavy beers, it's like you're not drinking 3 beers, you're drinking like 12 and you don't know it, in terms of like volume and alcohol consumption.
Salutation shades, and welcome back to your one-stop shop for all things strange and unusual, Talking with Shadows, the conversation everyone has but no one wants to admit to. Here with your host Vic Whaley
and Marcus D. Now come along with us as we explore the most obscure things our universe has to offer. We specialize in helping people make sense of the most bizarre phenomenon you'll ever come across. You'll get all the great topics such as UFOs, cryptids, and psychic phenomenon, but also some stories that are so spectacular they scare people to believe that they're true. Now take a seat and welcome to the One Candle Society. But always remember, keep believing,
'cause we'll keep listening.
So you drink 3 of those, and like you said, you're like, dude, I'm blasted.
Last question before we get back to your narrative.
Sure.
Outside of the U.S. and small independent breweries here, was there a country that stood out to you as far as their beer?
No, because the best stuff I ever had was just made here from the smaller guys. Because
you tried the German stuff?
Yeah, all the German stuff.
Warm, I guess. Some people say there's certain...
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd have warm beer, cold beer. That never really bothered me.
Tell you what,
much.
somebody brings me a warm beer, they can kiss my ass. You're lucky I'm drinking a beer.
I'm trying to think when I was doing... I had something. Okay, yeah. That's what it was. How could I forget? During my worst days of alcoholism, I'd constantly have just beer in my trunk because I'm constantly on the road. And it would be like the middle of July, and I'd pull in the casino, crack a beer that was 120 degrees,
Jake,
throw it down, run in the casino, and yeah.
Jake, just a few more feet, you could have got a cold one.
No, hot's fine. I needed it right now.
I mean, I get that, but woo, strong of will.
That's discipline.
We'll call it something. But you were at the app and you were chasing this number.
I was chasing the numbers, and I got the 500, and that was.
I don't know, like, given the theme of this episode, if I should say congrats.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
Good job for accomplishing your goal.
It's cool. I still think that's cool. And then after that, it was just like, well, what now? And I was like still on the train. Like the train didn't stop. It just hit 500. And I'm like, I'm not getting off. So where I went next.
I love it.
You know where I went next, right?
6.
No.
7.
1,000. I had to get 1,000 beers.
Good Lord. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's a lot of different beer.
I don't know how many different types of beer I've had, but I don't think it's 3 digits. Yeah. I don't know if it's
most people haven't, just
like, give me my Busch Light.
Busch Light.
They're out of Busch Light. Fuck it. Give me my other shit beer. I don't know.
Mike's Lemonade. It's just like, yeah, most people probably tried 30 drinks, but no one's tried thousands.
Yeah. Yeah. So you damn, that's a hell of a number.
Yeah, and where I ended's bigger than that, but yeah, I hit 1,000. I thought I'd be happy there, and I wasn't, so I kept going and all that. But trying to paint the picture here, where things eventually, I went nuts with the beer, and I kept going up and up in numbers. And I'll get to where this all came crashing down. Because eventually, it takes a process, and I'll mention this book. We'll dive into the book a little bit about, how it explains that it's like a process to become an alcoholic versus like, you say just one shot of heroin, you're hooked on the heroin. It takes a long process of consistency.
Oh, it takes effort to become an alcoholic. It takes dedication.
It does. It really does. And it probably took me a few years until I realized, hey, I have a problem. This isn't, I'm not normal, the way I'm acting.
You know what? I just want to point out, as far as I've always seen you, like you always took care of yourself, so to speak.
Yes.
And I'm sure you did the same even during your problems. So just for the listeners out there, just because someone's put together doesn't mean they're not fighting their own battles. Like I can't stress that enough about what people are going through on the inside.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, to touch on that.
Like alcoholism doesn't have a specific face.
No, not at all. I mean, it can be very, like prevalent. You see the guy standing on the corner waiting for the bus.
Easily visible.
This guy, he's a boozer holding the brown bag. What's in there, right?
My wife's stepfather was a raging alcoholic. Just one of those guys that needed it at that point. But he would just always say wild shit. I make blood bleed over that girl. Okay, bro, get out of here. Like, you can't stand up straight. Get away from me.
I'm so glad I didn't get there. I don't know when people do, because I don't know. I think about how much I've done in my life with booze, drugs, etc. And you're just like, how's this guy so put together? How did I not like burn out up here? I don't know if I rebuilt it, because I could tell there were times where like something had an effect on me, and it wasn't a hangover. I mean, this is something that affected me for months, if not years. So to be as put together as I am now, and to go to the gym every morning and stuff like that, it's like, all right, that guy's put together. But
yeah, if you're unfamiliar with Jake's previous episodes, he's an amateur bodybuilder and everything, and like real disciplined guy. Like jokingly, we called him like Patrick Bateman, but like he's a very organized and put together guy. And since he was an alcoholic at certain times, especially just from the outside.
So let's see, diving back in where it became a problem.
You hit 1,000.
I hit 1,000.
Now you said you kept going after you hit 1,000.
I did.
Can I ask what your final?
The final number I achieved was 1,710 beers.
Jesus God, Jake.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of different places, a lot of digging, a lot of drinking.
I think you might know this answer. Is there somebody with a record, or what is? Or
there's people far beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah. I go through different profiles on the app, and there were people triple that. Yeah. And maybe they were doing samples and just checking it in. I drank all of mine. That's for damn sure.
There you go. I like it. I became an alcoholic the real way. God damn it!
If I had a terrible beer, I just chugged it. Yeah, my buddy can vouch for that. Would go to places, and he's like, dude, you're a professional at picking out bad beer. And I'm like, I know. I'd just pick out the goofiest thing I could find, sip it, and oh my God, and just have to throw it back. But it was a journey, and do I regret it? Yeah.
Are you familiar with Malort?
Malort?
I think it's Malort. It's alcohol. It's not Merlot. I think it's Malort. It's supposed to be extreme. It's terrible. And I was going up to Chicago to visit Chris and do some comedy with another guy. I get up there, and they're like, "Oh, we get to the shot. It's a tradition. We're gonna get you. It's delicious, Malort, blah blah blah." And if I'm saying the name wrong, forgive me. So we get there, and the waitress comes up to the table, and he's like, "Oh, get him a shot of Malort." And I was like, "No, give me 3." And the waitress was like, "Are you sure?" And like Chris is trying to like keep it together, and I'm like, yeah, of course, give me 3. They're great. I get the 1. I took the first shot, man. Holy hell, I wanted to kill myself.
Why?
It just tasted so bad, and like the aftertaste and the burn, it just all combined was just, you know that. Oh,
Yeah, just cringe.
Yeah.
It was, you don't know if it was a whiskey, or like some kind of like
I have
moonshine.
no clue.
No idea.
I have no
but it
clue.
was bad.
It was terrible. But I had to drink the 3 shots because they sure as hell weren't going to drink it.
Exactly.
And it's not like you can say, here, pour this back in the bottle, please. I've had enough.
Drip that back in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody got the funnel? Yeah. But don't stay away from that shit.
Malort.
Yeah, Malort. I don't fucking know. It's horrible. Don't let your friends tell you shit is delicious. Is the point? Don't trust the people you love.
I lost where we were.
You got to
17:10.
17:10, and you were saying as it became a problem because you weren't happy after 1,000.
Yeah. So where I hit the problem, like I knew I was struggling with it, from, the behavior and everything, but I got to a point.
I can't let you gloss over that because I'm very curious to know is what your behavior was that especially made you look back and say, this is outside of just excessive drinking.
Yeah, no, it was just like the fact that you wanted to drink when it was inappropriate, or you were trying to hide it from people you love. When you just knew in your heart this is wrong and you kept doing it.
Okay.
And you started to struggle internally with what you were doing because you knew it was wrong.
Did you have any physical side effects?
I don't know. I never got to a point where I was
Like
like
had
I
the
need
shakes or
medical
anything?
attention, things like that.
Okay.
It never got there, but like it kind of did for the point of where I stopped drinking and wanted to stop. I remember going out. This was early January 2020. It was like January 6th, and it was a Friday. It was my day off work. And
Was that 2021 January 6th was the white Capitol Hill shit? Capitol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2020.
A year before.
A year before Capitol Hill.
When Jake was ramping people up.
On my January 6th, not Trump's 6th, what happened was I started drinking early that day, as basically usual. So it was like 9 a.m., and I didn't stop until probably 9 or 10 p.m.
Now, is this a day you had off?
It was,
Okay.
yeah. And that was my natural day off at the time. And I was drinking all day, and I came home absolutely hammered. Unfortunately, was drinking and driving. Luckily, where I left from where my house is was literally like I timed it once, like a 90-second drive.
And
so
you drive a
thank
manual.
God. I do.
Wild man out here.
I probably shouldn't admit it that, we all drink and drive.
We've all made mistakes in the past.
I've done a massive amount of drinking and driving, unfortunately, and it was all with a manual, and there was only one time in my entire life where I called someone and said, I need a ride home. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think that's pretty impressive that I could operate that well. And
For the sake of argument, some would say it was fortunate and lucky.
Yes. I was fortunate in my skill set, but on the 6th, I came home. I literally like rolled out of the fucking car. I'm throwing up everywhere. I'm so like heeled over and puking that like the pressure got to me, and I'm now pouring blood out of my nose. I'm getting everything on this fucking suit I'm wearing, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. And I went in.
Sorry, brother.
I went in the house, and girlfriend, fiance now, told her, I'll try not to get like as detailed so it's not emotional, but I just basically told her, hey, I have an issue, and I got to stop.
Yeah.
And, naturally I was just like, talk to you, talk to my mom, just call everyone that's important to you and just like put it out there like, hey, need help, got a fucking problem here. So that's what I did. And from that day, I quit drinking, and I made it 6 months clean. And you'd say, why the fuck would you go back after all that?
Question before you go into that.
Yeah.
When you stopped before the 6 months, did you have a plan of how you were going to tackle stopping?
No.
Okay.
It was just willpower. As much as people encourage like a program and everything
And a
else.
safety net. And
Yeah, I
network.
just knew from everything I've been through in the past that I had the mental discipline to get through it. And I did. I just threw all the booze out, and if I wanted a beer, I'd buy the Heineken 0.0, and it tastes almost like the real thing, and it was like a substitute if you needed it. And it was just like I did whatever I had to do to step away from that, and that's absolutely what got me so heavy into the cigar industry as I am now. It was just like, hey, well, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing this, that, the other. It's like, well, can I have a cigar? Like, holy fuck. So that's what really got me deep into the cigars. And, going back to the 6 months and where I fucked that up is I decided to go on vacation to Myrtle Beach, see some family down there, aunt and uncle. They're not the youngest, 75, 6 in there. And, I'm like, this could be the last time. I haven't seen them in years. I'm like, this could be the last time I'm ever with them, specifically my uncle. He's been yingling through his blood his whole life. And I'm like, I just want to have a few beers with him if that's the last time I see him.
It's understandable.
So I did that. And I come back home, start making stupid shit up in my head that, I can carry on.
Like giving yourself allowances?
I can drink at weddings and, Christmas and maybe one on the weekend. And, I probably knew I was lying to myself, and I definitely was. And I started drinking again for 5 months, and it wasn't as problematic as the past, but it was still just the fact that every day was just pain because... and there were even days like I could go without a drink, but it fucking killed me to do that. And it was just like, after 5 months, what got me to quit is just, I got exhausted of the mental battle.
When you started drinking again, what was the reaction of the people close to you?
It was, I mean, I hid it so well my whole life. Many people didn't know I had an issue, and when I told some people I had an issue or I stopped because I had an issue, that I didn't even think you drank that much because I didn't really. It's not something you want people to know, but it was almost more inside. I really struggled with the addiction of it.
MC Auto Detailing is a home-based detailing company located in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. At MC Auto, we take care of all of your detailing needs, from a basic hand wash to a complete makeover of your vehicle. Busy schedule? MC Auto is also mobile. You can get your vehicle detailed in the comfort of your own home. With a 5-star rating on Google, we treat your vehicle as if it was our own. For a free quote and more information, contact MC Auto on Facebook and Instagram at MC Auto Detailing LLC or call 724-462-4863. MC Auto Detailing. Who doesn't like a clean car?
And then, I battled that for 5 months, and 2 episodes happened that were dramatic. The one happened, and then it was probably a month or 2 later where today, 1 year ago, happened, and I just quit. The first time, it was strange because you had actually asked me this. Because I told you when we worked together, I wasn't a violent drinker or anything, because that's what you asked when I told you, I had issues. You're like, well, you get angry, you get violent? I'm like, no, I get really happy, man.
You make me sound like I'm from Boston.
From where?
From Boston, like a townie.
It's just Johnny the Townie.
Yeah.
It was just asking if
they
I
call
had a
me
problem.
Johnny the Tooth.
Johnny Two Teeth was asking.
Yeah, Johnny Two Teeth over here asking about you.
If I got a fucking problem, and I'm like, I just get happy. I'm drinking. I get 1, 3, 10. And that's how I was. That's the hardest part of me.
I think I fall into a category of people that's very broad, that when they hear about alcohol problems, they think violence.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is natural in almost every case. Yeah, I abused my kids or all this shit. And it wasn't like that for me, and that was the hardest.
so cavalier. Yeah, I beat the fuck out of them little fuckers. Whatever.
Kick my cat.
I
Fuck
made
you,
them. I can make more. Their mother gets out of prison in 2 years.
And I'm thankful it wasn't like that for me. And that was the hardest part of quitting. Because with everything I had issues with, it brought me like a lot of happiness, at least on one side of the coin. And on the flip side, I knew I had issues where I was like, this is an addiction and it's affecting me physically, mentally, financially, you know, relationships, and I need to stop.
Can I scratch a little bit deeper here
Yeah.
on what the two incidents were? You said one and then another.
Yeah. So I forget how we got to what the problem was, but we were talking about that, and nevertheless, okay. So this is where it was going. I had like a violent incident, which was shocking to me, which was like a huge wake up call of like, how'd this happen? So like I went out drinking, and this was the time I asked someone to pick me up, you know, my fiance, and I remember getting home, and like I just lost it, you know, like it was not like towards her, but like I was just so mad at myself, and I just sat there crying on the kitchen floor for like an hour, and I don't know how I kept drinking after that, because it was just like, why?
And this is just speculation on my part, but you don't know why you kept drinking after that. Was that
because it's
becoming
just
to
how
like
do you
cover up the
get
pain?
that low and then go back to it? Because like I never got to that point. So the second time it happened, literally nothing happened. I went out with all my friends, drank a lot, came home, and it was the hangover more than anything. It was so debilitating, or whatever the word is. I couldn't drink water. I was throwing up. I had the worst pain of my life in my neck, and I'm like, I need to go to the fucking hospital or something. Like, I need serious help. Pulled through that day, and I just got to that point that day where I'm like, I can't do this. You know, just done. No questions. And that was 1 year ago today. And
Again, congratulations, man.
thank you. What definitely helped with that was this book, The Easy Way to Stop Drinking, by Alan Carr.
Hold it up for people.
There's
Or I'll put a picture up of it.
drinking book, and there's a smoking book. Both are fantastic. And
You know, I'm sure he did a great job with the drinking book. When it comes to the smoking book, sometimes just calm down.
yeah, I didn't read that one twice. Yeah, there's nothing like a good cigar and or good cigarette, but both books are phenomenal. Even if you don't have an issue.
When you quit a year ago today,
Yeah.
This is a series of questions, I guess. First off, did you have this book in your possession already? Or was this something you seeked out?
I don't think so.
That also being
I
said,
think it was almost immediately after I bought the book.
did you ever attempt any of the more traditional ways, like the Alcoholics Anonymous type meetings?
I didn't. And then that goes back to like the first time I quit. Like
Your
I knew I had the
independence.
mental discipline, and it was like, well, you have a problem, like you're going round 2. Do you think you need professional help this time? And if it weren't for this book, that's a maybe.
So tell me more about this book then.
So with the book, how did I discover it was randomly. Nikki Glacier did a video with Joe Rogan, and you can find it on YouTube about this book, and that she doesn't drink anymore because of this book. And I heard it like a year or two before ever buying it and all that. I'm like, that'd probably be an interesting read. And I read the smoking book when I was like 17, so I knew how it was probably laid out. And I'm like, I bet that's, pretty interesting. So when I decided to quit, and I got the book, and I'm like, this is just a phenomenal book. And it basically, without diving into it, but I may here, it just breaks down every single reason. And here's a perfect one. Like, well, drinking makes me happy. Wouldn't every alcoholic be the happiest person you know then? And usually that's the polar opposite. And the truth of it is, it's just like alcohol does nothing for you. Absolutely nothing. You literally drink enough of it, it's going to fucking kill you.
It's a poison.
Yeah, it is poison. You're ingesting poison. Millions of people, like 90% of people drink at some level. And it's like you're drinking poison for no reason. And most of that is just completely due to an illusion of mostly social aspects that we're doing this, and we got to have a drink. And you don't.
I've mentioned this a lot of times. There's comics that I worry about. Because, most mics are at bars and stuff, and you'll see comics just throw them back every night of the week. And it's concerning.
Yeah, it's a dark road. And I just thank God I got out of that when I did. And the book helps clarify, what you're about to do or what I was doing a few weeks in. I was probably like 3 weeks sober. And even reading the book, in the book, it tells you, like, you can keep drinking while you're reading this. And I'm going to give you, like, steps. And at the end, you're going to have your final drink, and this is what you're going to do.
Oh, really?
So it's very interesting.
That's fascinating.
It doesn't encourage you to stop. But I stopped, and, like, 3 weeks later, I'm reading the book, and I'm like, all right, the easy way to stop drinking, I'm 3 weeks sober. How can I keep going? Because I don't want to keep doing what I've been doing. Mm-hmm. And it just completely destroys every single reason people have to drink. So once you eliminate every reason to drink imaginable and you just change your mindset, like conscious and subconscious mind, completely rewire it, you're not going to have a problem. And I don't. And even to this day, I'm like, Jake, you think you might have a beer? No, no interest. I'm good.
I fully agree with the statement you just made. However, you said it so in a cavalier manner that I think we should stop rewiring your brain completely, folks. Is not something that's just like, all right, let's switch it up.
It's a process.
How was your process with that?
So it took, through steps of the book, it took support. It took, friends and family. It took substitutes like non-alcoholic beers. It wasn't just like I did hypnosis and it was all good. I'm reset. It was a massive combination of things to bring me to where I am. Okay. And I recommend, suggest, and that's what I did. I actually recently had a friend reach out to me that said, hey, I have binge drinking issues and I know you've had issues. And I'm like, buy this fucking book and let me know how things go. And as far as I know, this is months ago we did that. He's sober today.
That's awesome.
Right? So it's like, if I can, and that's why I'm doing this, if I can help one person with my story of how I went and what I did and just a few proper steps or insights or ideas that help them, that's what I'm here for. So.
That's a beautiful message, Jake. Who was the author of that book again?
Alan Carr.
Now, did Alan Carr come from a place of addiction?
He doesn't say, I'm an addict and this is why I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he ever disclosed that in the books or not. He just strictly writes them as like help books. And like it's like to break down like a chapter by chapter stuff. It's how did we fall into this trap? Excuses, not reasons. All about like the taste of alcohol and how the brain, gets fooled into, it naturally, obviously does not taste good. And then they get into why. And I was one of these people, like you see an alcoholic, they can drink straight gin or vodka. Doesn't bother them.
No face.
No face. Dude, I could pour an entire glass of vodka and just drink it like water. And people are like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
No, that's a great reaction to that, Jake, because alcohol, or especially vodka straight like that. I was at this bar, and it was closed. I was me and a friend and actually the owner of it, who was like some guy who made like millions of dollars and retired, so he opened up a bar. It was real high-end, like surprising spot for where it was at. And we were talking just about alcohols and shit, and I was like, I don't like too many alcohols, and he mentioned he's got this tequila, and I'm like, I don't like tequila. And he goes, well, this is like, I don't know, it was like $1,800 a shot. Like, it was expensive ass. He was like, this is one of the best in the world. It's one of the smoothest you'll ever find. And I took a shot, and I did the face. I was like, oh, that was terrible. And he's like, I don't know, you might just not like tequila then. It's like, yeah, I know, bud. I don't care how many times it's refined or whatever the fuck they do.
It's the fact that you're not a drinker.
Yeah.
Because it's natural reaction to drinking poison. But it's the fact, like, once you're so poisoned and it's like literally just in your veins, then it's like, oh, this tastes good because you fucking need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, where I developed myself to. And it's very impressive, all the psychology behind drinking and how it develops into alcoholism.
Quitting is a hell of an accomplishment, Jake.
It is. It is.
And from everyone here at the Inquisitive Minds team, we salute you.
Thank you. So, yeah.
So where does Jake go from here then?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know where this whole conversation would go, but I'd say that's the gist of it for, my episode with drinking. And, where do you take it from here? I don't know. I mean, as far as, like I said, I don't have intentions of drinking again. I can appreciate the non-alcoholic beers just for some of the old-time flavor a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's semi-refreshing in a way, but it's ironically enough, it costs the same as regular beer. So for me to go basically buy like corn water, it makes no fucking sense for like $30 a case. It's like it was nice to have it, and he even mentions it in this book. Don't do that because you're actually telling yourself, this is a substitute. And what you're telling your brain is, I made a sacrifice. But if you give up nicotine or alcohol, you didn't actually make a sacrifice. You're bettering your life. You didn't give up anything. Mm-hmm. They're both a poison. So,
Jake, I think the perfect job for you would be like a weird combination of like motivational speaker / hitman.
Well, that's
like,
all I've ever wanted to be.
You just sneak up to someone and then slip the book like behind their throat like a string, and you're like, "You're gonna quit this drinking. You understand? Don't look back. This is from your wife. Mr. Johnson says, sober up.
Sober up.
Yeah. No, that's great. I tell you what, then. You've given advice, essentially, the whole episode.
Yeah.
But something more channeled in to the listeners out there, what piece of advice would you like to give?
Just like in general?
Yeah, just in general.
I'd say, because I found myself in so many unhappy places in my life. If you're unhappy with anything, really sit back, analyze what it is, why you feel that way, and what you can do to make it better. Because I'd say like things, when I left high school in like around 19 to where I am today, and I covered so much of that in like my depression episode, I went through so much absolute hell, but I got through all of it through, financial struggles, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, gambling issues, whatever, relationship issues, heartbreak. There's been so much that just fucking killed me. And that's what puts you in those positions to start doing all that stuff. And then you sit there and it's wrong, but it's constantly a fight. Everybody has a battle, but you can win. And I think so many people are just like, fuck it. They're so nonchalant. People are so undisciplined and they're so lazy, or they just don't even know what direction to start going. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me get in a positive direction was seeking out books. I have hundreds of books. Motivational videos, absolutely. People like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, core speakers that talk about self-development, because like everybody has an idea of who they want to be, and I've always wanted to be somebody, special. I didn't want to just be an average guy. And if I could encourage anyone to start getting on a better path, that's why I've done these episodes.
Jake, good Lord, man. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. Genuinely, like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I hope somebody out there listening takes something from it. Jake's a great dude. Promo yourself. Shout out your social medias, whatever you want people to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jake Aretz, Aretz. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, whatever you wish on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, 4 different social media accounts on Instagram. Smoking Suits, The Notorious Gambler, Killer Eats, and Jake Aretz Fitness. Constantly putting up content there. Followers on Google. I am top 10% in the world for restaurant reviewers on Google. 12 million picture hits, 200,000 reads to my reviews, over 1,000 contributions total to Google. So in terms of marketing, I'm not going to say I'm a king, but I'm out there. And, it makes me happy to put content out there that people enjoy and to motivate people to get into things, whether it's cigars or food or fitness or books or podcasts. I mean, there's just so much passion I have for so many things. And that's why, I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm going till I can't go anymore. And, I just want to help and inspire other people. And that's why I've come onto this show 3 times. And back to you. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to do something.
My pleasure, Jake. I tell you what, Smoked and Suits.
Smoking Suits.
That's my favorite account of yours.
Thank you.
Just because, all the dope pictures that you post, you take them. They're you or of you and whatnot.
Sure.
So they're real. But they always look like a picture to me that people use to make, a badass quote about, like just a cigar smoking, I'm a calm man until they mess with my family.
I got you. Just like the ones of me smoking.
Yeah.
Black and whites and stuff.
It's like a Sam Elliott quote should be up in the corner.
Yes. Those are honestly some of my favorite stuff too. And the gambling, the fitness account, I'm not on too much. They're just honestly my fucking social medias are nothing but me dumping the photos out of my phone so I have storage and you guys can do what you wish with them. If you enjoy that shit, whatever. But I don't contribute a lot to those. The food one and the cigar one I put a little more effort into. But as long as people are enjoying it, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the food reviews. You actually posted a wing flavor that you made the other day.
Recent creation.
What was that one?
So Fire at Fort Knox.
Yes, that sounded phenomenal. When I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, I would have ate that one."
Yeah. So to touch on the wing things, like some others, I had a explosion of passion for the wings. Still do. Went through every flavor at Big Shot Bob's and said I'm not done. Just like the drinking train, so I started making up my own stuff. And those were all my creations. And I don't know, I probably did 20, 25 creations. And that one being the most recent. And then when I do that, it's this is like old times because I've only done 3 this year versus 2020. I probably did 20. But I did the Fire Fort Knox one just a few days ago. And it was gold barbecue sauce with wet ranch and cayenne. They turned out phenomenal.
Phenomenal, man.
The chef brought them out and he's like, dude, I was about to make some of these for me. These look good. These are phenomenal. So, yeah, it's touching on, my ambition to make a wing sauce. I'm not in the process of that, but I actually am very committed to something very similar I won't disclose. But perhaps, I don't know, wouldn't be this year. It'd be next year. Maybe some things available to the public similar to that. And maybe we'll talk again about
big things coming. Guys, keep your eyes open for Jake.
It could be a possible entrepreneurship little venture there, something. You never know what will come of it. But one of my passions, I'm locking into that. So we'll see where it goes.
That's what's up, man. That's awesome. Guys, make sure you check Jake out. I'm trying to think when this episode comes out. December 10th, check me out in Erie. December 11th, come down to the Level Up Studios in Homestead where I'm producing a show. Put together a hell of a banger. I don't know. I can't think of many more announcements. Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'll see you January next year. Till next time, guys, if you liked what you heard, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me. Just trying to make something shake here. But until next time, peace and love.
This is the Inquisitive Minds Podcast.